Hello, Charlene Hess here with Living Whole Fitness. And today I'm going to go through and show you a flow that we did. I'm calling this a body flow. In our class, we have been working on learning to listen to your body. And in my video blog, I talk a lot about that, about learning to listen. And so how do we apply that to our movement, to our fitness practice, to our exercise that we do? And so I'm going to start with going through and showing you what my body came up with today, the movements that my body were asking for today. And then at the end, I will go ahead and break it down and talk to you about how I got there and how I built the movements up in my body first before just going through and doing the flow. I think a lot of times we'll watch a video and we'll just jump right in and try to do the movements that are on the video. And so I really want to encourage you to first build the movement in your body. As you're building the movement in your body, you're asking your body, does this feel good? How does this work? Can we do this? Get that movement, get that full joint range of motion so that you can first warm the joints up, warm the muscles up before you then push them into their full range or to the place that you're trying to take them. So I'll start with just going through a little flow and then I'll break down what it is that I did to build up to being able to do that. So here we go. So that's just a little sample of just going through, pushing one movement into the next movement into the next movement. So first thing that I did is I started with warming up my hips. So warming up my hips with shin box. I wanted to see how does it feel before I go into extension, before I do the full step around, opening up, doing the pivot. If I were to just jump in and do that without having warm hips, then that could be a real problematic thing later in the day if I pushed too hard too soon. So started with shin box mobility. So just going in my shin box and switching sides. Shin box switch. So I'm just asking my body here, how do my hips feel? So as I'm going through and I'm doing this movement, it's like, that feels pretty good. Yes, I definitely have some tightness, but I'm gonna now go into extension. So as you're going into extension, I'm not just arching my back and pushing my body forward, right? So I can go into shin box extension where I push my hips forward and then I'm putting compression in my low spine. You don't want to do that. So instead, when you come up into your shin box extension, I am squeezing and rotating from my back hip. So shin box switch. I'm coming into extension by squeezing this glute. This thigh is rotating in its socket so that I only push as far forward as that glute is going to allow me. I'm not pushing over and extending back. So I went through and I did this several times to get that warm up and thought, that felt really good. I'm going to play with that. And then I went into the full mermaid of getting extension into my side body. So it felt good to get that extension in my hip. So I listened in and thought, okay, well, it feels good to extend my arm. And then I thought, why not make it pretty? So I'll just exaggerate it because that felt good to me in the moment. And that's really the point, is as you're going through and you're building a flow or you're exploring movement in your body, is there's always this question-answer process that's going on. Ask your body, does this feel good? Yes, this feels good. Can I push it even further? Yeah, I can. So then I push it even further. So then it felt really good. I wanted to go into pigeon and open that hip up and really stretch the outside hip of my back leg. So from extension, it just felt natural to go into pigeon. So I did this several times in a row to see how that felt, and then that felt good. Do the same thing on the other side. Went into pigeon, and then from pigeon, it felt good to pull my knee in, shin box switch, and pigeon. So I went back and forth between those movements several times, back and forth, back and forth. And as I was going through and doing that, I wanted to work on what it would feel like to come around. And again, I'm opening up my hip in this area. So I just opened the hip and I did a little bit of a spinal twist movement without actually twisting my spine. So for me right now, I am protecting my lower back. I had a back strain, so I'm all taped up with my kinesiology tape. And so when I go through and I did this, it didn't feel good to rotate. So I was like, okay, but I still want to get my hip open. So when I did my little step over, like I'm going into spinal twist, I just stayed square. Shin box switch, step over, pull my knee in. So I'm still getting a really nice stretch through the back hip, but I don't have to go all the way into rotation because right now, my body doesn't like that. And so as you're going through and building a flow or just exploring movement, which is exactly the same thing as building a flow, you can call it whatever you want, you're just going through from one movement to the next movement. Try that movement several times in a unloaded way. So just where you're really working back and forth in it. So when I was playing with my, going over into my spinal twist prep, just felt good to really open my hips and go into that deep squat. But before I did that, I played with how does my deep squat feel? So several times, plug my feet into the floor. The way that I like to explain it is I think about my foot as a three-prong plug. So I've got my two prongs here and one prong in the heel, and I tell my students, plug your feet into the floor so that you really have that feeling of being grounded. Then from there, I played with my deep squat. So pushing my hips back, I'm pulling my butt to the floor. At the same time, I'm pushing my knees out away from me, not out away, but out, like over my middle toe. So I find lots of space in my hips. So for me, I have this range of motion to be able to come down here and to be able to have control of going down and then coming back up. So I played with that several times. This morning when I first started, I didn't have it initially. I was only here. But by going in and out of it several times with concentrated focus of really exploring that range in my hips and in my body, I was able to then get down deep enough. And then for me, I was able to add the fold. So that was one thing that I did, is so I could be in a full deep squat while still folding the knees. This may not be an accessible range for you to do, so that wouldn't be something that you would try. So to try and go from your shin box, step around, rotate up, if you don't have a super deep squat, then that wouldn't be a wise move for your body. So then you would make something else up. Maybe step around and come into your squat here if this is where you squat. Put your hands down, step around, going back. So really the point is about the question-answer process with your body. So you can go through and you can look at a video and say, oh, that's a really cool video, I want to do that movement. But if you do that movement without first asking your body to do that movement, then you can be injuring yourself. And so It's really tempting to go on YouTube and go on Instagram and to look at videos and to watch people doing exercises and think, wow, that looks so cool. I want to be able to do that, and then jump right in and just try to do it without really knowing how that movement was built. And so I want to encourage you to play with your body, to play, to explore, to find movements that feel good, and just do that movement several times in a row, coming in and out of it, in and out of it. And then just feel inside, like, what does it feel good? Maybe it feels good now to go into extension, going into extension, or it felt really good when I, brought my knee around and that felt really good. Do that. So just building that relationship with your body, finding that question answer. Can I do this? But then be willing to listen to what your body says. And if your body's like, I'm not sure, I don't really like that, don't do it. Find a different movement that does feel good. So the point is to just keep playing, keep moving, and explore all the things that your amazing body can do. But you have to first build a trusting relationship with your body by asking your body, can I do this? And then listening to the answer. Finding an alternative way so that you're always getting strong, healthy, functional movement. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to see more of, then feel free to write something in the comments. I'm going to try and post a video about once a week where I'm just going to share what I've learned, where I'm at, what I'm working on, and invite you to play along. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.